Love it. Well, we're going to get started. Thanks, everyone. My name is Nick Lim. I am the president of Rotary Elizabeth Quay, and I have the pleasure of being the MC tonight. But before I do that, I might hand over to the amazing Sean Williams to welcome you all.
Hi, everyone. Kaya. My name's Sean, and I grew up in the Wajak foothills, and that's the rain from which feeds the Derbil Yurigan, which is our Swan River. I'd like to acknowledge everyone here today for taking on life, learning and growth in the community that we all share. We're meeting here to carry each other forward with unity and understanding, and with the support of each other in building a better world for tomorrow. So our traditional heritage and where we meet today, albeit virtually, is on Wajak Nyunga Puja, and I'd like to pay my respects to our elders past, present and emerging. Now, Nick's, as he's mentioned, going to be our MC tonight, so I'm going to hand back to you, Nick. Thanks.
Thanks, Sean. So tonight we've got a jam-packed agenda. Not only do we have the amazing Crystal Howie with us, but we also have some special news to share with you about what's going on around our Rotary Club and also potentially around the world with William joining in from the UK. So I'm not going to waste any more time, but jump straight into it. And I'm not sure if you heard of this acronym, all the cool kids know it, but I was introduced to it and I will use it. GTKY, get to know you. If you can pull out your mobile phones while watching the screen, I just want to know a little bit about where you're all dialing in from and how you're all going. Now, William, I'm sorry, this is under the assumption that everyone on the line is in Perth, but you've bucked the trend. You've joined us from the UK, so I'll take your feedback as well. If you go to the website menti.com, that's menti.com, the instructions on the top of the screen, and add the code 2643174. I'm going to introduce you to a new tool again. Menti is a great collaboration tool to get a bit of a heat map and feedback dynamically from people in the audience. So we're on day 3 in lockdown in Perth, and it looks like everyone so far doesn't know what anyone else is complaining about. I mean, Kate's got the wine and is sipping it from Vanuatu. Eleanor looks like she's maintaining her exercise regime. But no, we've got some variety. Someone's climbing the walls. One person thinks it's only 5 days. You'll always have a fence sitter. People. And we've had 14 respondents so far. I know there's 23 of you on the line, so I'll wait for the other 10 to find out what Menti's about by jumping on their mobile phone and answering this very simple question. We've got 3 wall climbers. I hope you're being able to exit those feelings and connect with us over the next hour. But most of you Western Australians don't know what anyone else is complaining about. William, I might dob on you. Where did you vote, my friend? You can hold up your hands and vote because we can't hear you. 1, 5, 3.
I voted for the don't know what anyone's complaining about.
Okay. Nice work.
A lot longer in London. So.
And what day are you on?
I don't know, because we've had this tier system where various people can go out and other people can't go out and so on, and I lost track of it because I'm on leave at the moment from work for a couple of weeks, but I did have to go into the office because I work at a mental hospital, so it's all a bit kind of complicated trying to say. But we had lockdown starting the 18th of March last year, and some people haven't been out since then, so could be day 200 on.
Well, you're an inspiration to us, my friend, and maybe the trick to all of this is having the access to a mental hospital, if in case you're feeling like you're climbing the walls. We'll go to the next question, which is, what is your lockdown tip or tips? What's your advice? And William, please feel free to add it in here. We've been looking for your insights after day who knows what. Yoga, exercise, snacking, dance. If you're seeing a response on the screen that you also agree with, feel free to add that as well. The words will get larger as you're responding. Netflix, Baileys, after 3 days. I
Mine
don't
was
know what What was yours?
Mine was keep in contact.
Contact.
But into 3.
Very
so
sensible. Well, this is our foray into keeping contact. Indoor plants, thanks, Sean. I know that's you. Pets, Eleanor.
I like live with Melissa. I think that should have been my strategy.
Great. And Schitt's Creek. Don't know what that is, but maybe you should have some rice and white potatoes for a couple of days.
It's a Netflix series.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Kate.
I didn't put that, by the way, but just
I was being. Yeah, thanks. Okay, it looks like we've got way more than we've had registered. 28 people so far. Thanks, family, chilling, gardening, the internet. Standout for me is definitely living with Melissa. If only each of us could. Perhaps we'll start a Rotary EQ commune. Well, I'm going to take us back to the slides, and thanks for that info, just to get to know you. Melissa, who is officially running the evening tonight and has contributed to this lovely affair?
Tonight's Squad Summit is hosted by the REQreationists Squad. We have myself, Sean Williams over here, Ingrid in the call. We don't have the following with us tonight, but they did help put this together, Nadine and Varin. Our newcomer, Elizabeth, just joined the team. Vivian and Kim currently on maternity leave, and Zara will be joining us hopefully later on in the evening.
Thanks, everyone. So what is a Squad Summit, you might be asking? Well, we host our meetings based on our teams. And Rotary Club is very much made up of amazing people, and we like to spotlight them. You see, we share the work and the fun around each of our squads, and we take turns to host meetings. It's by far, it is definitely not mandatory for you to participate and host it. If you're not comfortable doing so, it's simply an invitation. And what we find by inviting our members to represent us and speak on our behalf and the director's behalf is we get a much more colourful, dynamic and interesting view of what Rotary Elizabeth Quay is all about. So tonight you'll be hearing from a few of them. I'm merely standing in president role. We had a few breakdowns, but we will succeed. And you'll be hearing from a few of the other members of the REQreationists. If you are wondering about what the REQreationists, why they got that name, I wonder myself as well. Feel free to pop it in the chat or any other questions you have going through. I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll intervene and jump in and respond to those questions at will. Otherwise, Melissa's there, and she can help with answering some of those questions as we move through. So, Melissa, speaking of you, your guest tonight is Crystal.
Yes, Crystal. I met Crystal at a networking event hosted by one of our Rotary Elizabeth Quay alumni. I don't know if you all remember Megan McNeil. She was our previous Director of Communications and Marketing, and she started her own business doing LinkedIn personal branding. She hosted the networking event over at the Atlas Club, which is a new not-for-profit platform in Elizabeth Quay. So I do highly recommend checking that out if you'll have a chance to follow her on LinkedIn. But Crystal Howie, wow, she has absolutely amazing and very engaging storytelling capabilities, and her story will blow you away. So without further ado, I would like to introduce Crystal Howie.
Put your hands together for Crystal.
Thanks, Melissa, and thanks everyone for having me along. I promise I won't take up too much time. Just to give you an overview of what happened, I suppose to start off, my background is, I know I look only 21, 30 odd years plus in tourism and hospitality. So all of my life it's been airlines, hotels, customer service, and for the past 7 years I had started my own home-based travel agency, which is interesting at the moment. But during my time, before I started the travel agency, I was working for an organisation, and I started, it was when I was diagnosed with cancer. And it was a really interesting time. If anyone, as anyone knows, anyone who has had a cancer diagnosis, it's always life-changing in so many ways. And the same was for me. And at the time I was managing a group of about 65 people. And then about 5 months after my radiation finished, I was asked to transit the entire business over to the eastern states, which I did. So lots of things happened through that time, but I think when I look back, my biggest thoughts, I suppose, my remembering what happened was the amount of waiting rooms that I sat in and the stories that I heard from people. So the blue dot, if anyone doesn't know, it's actually the permanent tattoo you have when you have radiation therapy. So it's used to line you up. So for the blastings that you get over a 6-week period on a daily basis, they can get it accurately to the same spot. So the countless waiting rooms I sat in, I met some incredible people, some stories that would tear you apart but would also inspire you, which is really what it did for me. And I wondered, with my background of customer service, how do you put that into the world of cancer? Because, you know, who wants to be a customer of cancer, let's face it. But it was the service gaps that really, really got to me. And so that was what started my little plight about what can I do about bringing this together. So I met with a business advisor and talked through some different ideas and things. And Blue Dot has been evolving probably for the last 2 years. So there's 3 main components that we do within the charity. And the first one is for regional people. I met many people that live remote from Perth, and when they are given a cancer diagnosis, they have to come to Perth. There's no sort of exception to it. They have to pack up their families and move, and that in itself is an extremely stressful situation. People I met, particularly women, some of them even decided not to go ahead with their treatment because they didn't want to be away from their families for so long. So that really impacted me in a way that I wondered how we could change that for people. So some of you may have heard of an organisation called Chemo at Home. It's based here in Perth, and they go out to people's homes. So what we've done is set up a contract with them. So for regional people, if they need to come to Perth for their treatment and they qualify for that type of treatment, we have an arrangement now with our first Blue Dot hotel, which we will also increase that along the way, that people can come and stay in the comfort of a hotel room and they can have their treatment like they were living in their home. So the language changes and they become a guest, not a patient. So the whole thing changes for that person and the experience. So we're about really game-changing that experience for people on a cancer journey. So that's one part of it. The second major thing we do is we offer a full concierge service. And by that I mean it's just talking to people about not the cancer, about everything else that goes around their diagnosis. So yesterday I spoke with a mother of a 16-year-old boy. They're from Bunbury. He has got severe bone cancer, and they've been told to just move to Perth for a year. So to just be told, change your entire life for a year, there's quite a few things that fall out from that. One was accommodation. They didn't know where to live. She's got 2 other children. They have to go and change and find a new school. So they've got to set the kids up. There's all these sorts of things that goes on. Part of our offering is that we source and research a lot of those products and services that are non-medical that support the family through their journey. And so we will continue to support them for the remainder of this year. So that's the concierge service. And then the third part, which is our really, it's the way that we really sort of maintain our presence of what we do at Blue Dot. And we've got a program called Change 500, and that actually transforms the entire customer experience in their journey of cancer. So what we do is we're looking for 500 people to donate an annual $100 a year, and that money is put into a separate bank bucket and is used purely to change the experience for people on a cancer journey. So previously we had another young boy who had a brain tumour. The family was they didn't get any government assistance because they didn't live far enough away from Perth, and yet they lived 54 kilometres. So we assisted the family with things like petrol vouchers, food, going to food bank, doing the shopping for them, taking mum out, giving her a bit of a different experience after 110 days of a journey where she drove up to Perth, spent 24 hours in the hospital with her son, then drove 24 hours and, 54 kilometres, and then spent 24 hours with the son, then 54 kilometres back home to spend 24 hours with the other kids. This went on for 110 days without change. So one day I sort of went along and I snapped her out of the hospital and took her out for a couple of hours and took her to have a massage and lunch and took her to go and do some food shopping for Christmas. So sometimes our concierge service and the Change 500 program works together, but sometimes it doesn't. It could just simply be someone who is on their own and they want someone to sit with them in a waiting room. Those horrible waiting rooms that go on forever, we offer that service as well. So overall, they're the three main things that we do, and it's literally our tagline is we focus on the person, not the disease. So very often, you know, we could have 3, 4, 5 conversations with people before they even tell us what type of cancer they have. So we're a one-stop shop service. Funnily enough, there actually isn't anyone that's doing that. There's loads of cancer support services out there for individual cancers that are diagnosed, but not a one-stop place where you can go to just get everything. So we're not there to create new products and services. They're already out there. But what we're there to do is support people to take away the angst of finding things and making their life a lot easier along that journey. I'm not going to hold you up anymore. I could tell you about all the amazing people I've met, but yeah, that's basically the story of who we are.
Thank you so much, Crystal. An amazing story. My mum was diagnosed with breast cancer when I was entering year 12, and was an absolute trooper, being just head down, bum up, studying. I never actually knew the full impact of that experience for her until at least a decade later when she shared with me the trauma. And I wish I would have known what I could have done or how I could have supported her better.
Yeah.
Are there any questions coming up for people or any observations that you want to share with Crystal while we have her on the line? Feel free to just put your hand up and I'll select you. Eleanor, you've got your hand up already. Great. The raised hand functionality, you know?
Yeah. Thank you so much for sharing your experience, Crystal. It's a really amazing job that you do. Coming from Belgium, where it's such a highly dense country, you would never think about driving more than, let's say, 45 minutes to go to the hospital. So having that perspective of the distance and what it actually means to live remotely for people, in particular if you are experiencing cancer or have certain health issues, completely opened my mind to a whole new world. So thanks for sharing your experience.
Thanks. Yeah. There are some places, I mean, some of the things that the way I got thinking about that was there is a bus that actually comes from, those of us that are from Perth would know, from Peel down in Mandurah, and it brings people up and takes them to the hospital daily. But beyond that 1 hour, there's nothing. So people need to make their own way or literally move house. And that's, you know, you have to do it to survive. But then just to have somebody else who can help you, guide you through that non-medical process really takes a lot of that, you know, sort of angst and stress away from them. Yeah.
Caress, I see you've raised your hand. Thanks.
Hi, Crystal. It's an incredible service that you provide. And I may have missed this because my internet drops out a little bit, but how is this funded? And do the guests pay and things like that?
Yeah, so if people come from the region, so if they live over 100 kilometres from Perth, there is a government assistance, and it gives them $60 per night for accommodation or $75 if they come with a carer. So what we've managed to do is our first hotel has come on board at $100 a night, which is unheard of in Perth. And that's for this program. So if somebody's coming to have treatment in the hotel, what we then do, depending on the story and the plight of the person, we would then activate the Change 500 program and look to pay the difference for them. So that's how the two may come together. So at the moment, this current family we have at the moment, they're not needing financial assistance, but they have great concerns for the daughter who's starting year 9. So to start with, we may become like a bit of a, bigger sister, auntie concept. We may just take her out to the movies and things like that. And she might open up a little bit about things that are happening. So a bit what Nick was saying with, his story as a child, it's such an impact with children that people forget that when someone's diagnosed with cancer, it's the entire family, friends and support network that are also impacted, but in a different way. So, yeah, and the funding is purely done by donations and by people that are following us at the moment. So, yeah.
And can you meet the demand, or is there a triaging service? Yeah, how does that all work as well?
Yeah, at the moment we have got a bit of concerns because it's been reported that 1 in 10 people during the pandemic are choosing not to have their ongoing cancer checkups. And the concern is that moving forward in Australia, we potentially could be looking at about 7,000 diagnoses in the not too distant future. So we're looking to expand our concierge service. So at the moment, I'm sort of pretty much doing most of it, and a few other people that are volunteers. So we're going to put some volunteers on who are all very keen to come on board with us. And then we'll just continue to fundraise and try and meet the demands of what's going to come. Yeah.
Thanks so much, Crystal. And Chris, awesome questions. Really, really inspiring story, Crystal. And on the weekend, we hosted an agile planning sprint where we came up with ways to support the community and raise funds. Your story is lived in action, so take a lot of inspiration from that. We might move on for the sake of time. And Crystal, you're more than welcome to join us. We hope you can stay to join us. We're going to continue on our journey tonight with the fabulous February theme. I don't know if you've noticed, but there are a few of us definitely wearing fabulous outfits. Dean in the background being one of them. But Ingrid, one of our newer members, is going to share with us a bit of a highlights reel of what we've been up to since our last squad summit. Ingrid, can I hand the ball over to you?
Yes. Can you all hear me?
Perfectly.
Oh, awesome. All right, so let's recap the incredible work of the last quarter before we look to a powerful quarter ahead. And wow, where do I even start? So let's just pick up where the last squad summit left off. So in late October, the club gathered around 18 volunteers for the Greenbatch bottle sorting and collection day. We got to use the new plastic shredding machine for its first proper run. And that's a machine that's capable of shredding 500 kilos of plastic per hour, which is pretty cool. We also helped drop off Greenbatch bins to Optus Stadium for Telethon. And November was busy with much volunteering and bonding between members. Our volunteers packaged 75 food hampers during the festive food hall for Vinnies, and supported Dismantle with taking apart a few bikes for recycling. Members and friends also shared drinks under the Professional Sundowner Series banner, where the amazing Kim Lancer, the CEO of Tall Poppies, led a powerful conversation about leadership. And November ended with deeper friendships formed at the regional Weekender, where 18 volunteers and members supported the Rotary of Margaret River. And in early December, we held our annual general meeting, and what an evening that was. The rec community spirit was out in force. At the AGM, we also inducted 3 new members, which was Julie Jardine, Chad Haslop, and Nadine August. I hope I said that name correctly. We also elected our incoming board directors, and we voted in Nick Lim as our president for a second term. The same weekend, we held a very cool little end-of-year wind-up beach picnic, where we also celebrated our global citizens. And later in December, our volunteers provided logistic support for the Homelessness We Care dinner, and an amazing team came together to take care of the setup and decorating for the dinner held at the Supreme Court Gardens. Our president, Nick Lim, also held a couple of listening workshops that was held in person and virtually to give club members a voice to enhance the club moving forward. And after a short break, club members got back together again in mid-January for our movie drama social event at Somerville Cinemas Under the Stars at UWA, where they watched Girls Can't Surf, which I heard was super fun. Unfortunately, I missed out on that one. The morning after the cinema, we doubled down to cook breakfast for some amazing people enjoying Rotary's camp opportunity, before heading back and joining campers for a Hawaiian dinner in the evening.
And can I just interrupt you, Ingrid? We definitely went home with handfuls of winnings. We all took part in a fundraiser, little raffle, and if you're ever going to go take part in these things, make sure you take along our one and only Sean Williams, who won 8 or 9 items and was so ashamed of his winning that after item 2, he was giving his items away to everyone else, Kiru and Nadine. And we got to the...
That's all right. All right, so I guess last weekend, or just this weekend, we held the quarterly Agile Planning Sprint, which was attended by 30 people, where we worked up our lean business canvases for 6 new projects planned for the next quarters. And here is a slide with the project leads and the first project team meeting dates. So if you would like to attend one of these project meetings, please reach out to the project lead.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thanks, Ingrid. I'll pick it up from here. So as part of our culture of projects forming, we've got a whole range of opportunities here for you or others in your community to help get a part of. So you can help us with leading these projects. We definitely need assistance there. You can help us with volunteering on the day, or you can help by just sharing this on your socials and getting the word out. All are on offer, and all contribution is really appreciated. There's more detail on our Trello page. So if you want to find out more, please jump onto Trello, add your name on the card, and you can get updated as we go through that journey. So yeah, thanks, Melissa. Here's an example of what that looks like. We have all of our projects and some new project ideas that will get spun up as we go through. Great. Well, I'm going to skip back a slide and see if the amazing Zara Torre is with us. Zara, are you on the line?
Yes, I am. Hi.
Hey, how you going?
Good. No, the internet was cutting out, so I just decided to turn my video off.
No, you and me both. So I'm going to share a brief video of some spotlight work that Zara has done. Now, I can't take any credit for it. This is none of Rotary Elizabeth Key's doing. This is just part of one of our amazing members in our club, Zara, and the work she's doing to support her communities. So can you see this video?
What if doing good was as easy as buying a cup of coffee every day? What if you could change the world every time you shopped? I'm Zara Torre, and I'm the founder of the Difference app and Dell's 2020 Changemaker of the Year. The Difference app allows you to round up every transaction to the nearest dollar, and that means every time you're shopping, you can be giving to a cause that you care about, from the environment, gender, inequality, health, education, poverty, causes that affect all of us. I guess technology has innovated every part of our lives. The exciting thing about what we're doing at The Difference is that now giving is embedded into every transaction you make. Every time you're shopping, you know that you're helping somebody in need. It gives everyone the chance to be a change maker. Download The Difference today and let's make change together.
Woo! Sarah,
it's always so
amazing.
embarrassing hearing your voice on television.
Please don't be. It's seriously amazing. And what I like to think about Rotary EQ is that we attract amazing people with big, big lives. It sometimes means that we don't get to see each other that regularly because we're just up to huge things making a difference in other parts of our lives. But this is a great example of the difference one of our members literally is making to the community. Zara, did you want to explain a little bit more? And while you do, I invite people to download the app onto their phone.
Thank you. Yeah, I don't really know where to start, but I think I'm really similar to everyone in this Zoom, in that we're probably motivated by a sense of gratitude around our lives. And I really, the reason that I'm a part of the Rotary EQ is because of the mantra of facilitating generosity. And it really speaks to, I think, a way that I've always tried to live my life. And it's so great to be in a room with all of you, because I know that all of you are making change in your own lives and in your communities by doing this for a start. And everyone's got their own backstory, but mine is in healthcare, just as a dentist, but I've also done a Masters of Public Health and a law degree, and I did a lot of things in the hope that I could make systemic change. And so I've lived by a mantra, which is, if it's in my power to help somebody, I will always do it. I say yes. I live on green, which means I kind of go, and I try and help as much in every way possible. And that's meant traveling to places like India and Cambodia, starting mobile medical units overseas, and doing kind of broad scale public health interventions, doing some things locally through a charity that I started to help victims of domestic violence. So these are all tangible things that I've tried to do as a way of saying thank you for my life, as a way of expressing my gratitude and my faith. But the difference started for me just as an idea when I was walking down the street a few years ago and just kept getting stopped constantly and asking for spare change by people who were sleeping rough. And I thought, isn't it ridiculous that we live in this digital age where I haven't had cash for around 5 years, but which one of us would happily give our spare change to help somebody in need? And I thought, why isn't there an app out there that does that en masse and automated and embedded, so we're actually embedding generosity into our everyday lives? Because what's 27 cents to me, what's 36 cents to me, it's nothing in that moment. Anyone would happily give it away, but why isn't there an app that's doing that? So then I decided to build it, and we've founded a team. We got some initial funding, and we've built the app, which is amazing. And my goal is to connect people to the idea that it doesn't matter what you have in your pocket. It could be 5 cents or $5,000. When you make an intention to help someone else out, collectively you can bring about great change. So yeah, we launched at the end of last year, which was really difficult during COVID, but I think even more so it's very important because we're living in such an increasingly cashless society, as we've seen through COVID. So even it probably has more relevance. And I really want to empower the small guys, the charities that are out there that don't have massive budgets for marketing. They don't have, a lot of staff or big facilities, but they're actually making great change. So we've created a vetting process through our app for really good charities. It's aligned to the UN Sustainable Development Goals. And yeah, it's available to download for free, and then you get a tax receipt at the end of the year for all your spare change. And you know that you're part of a community of like-minded people that are wanting to change the world in a small but tangible way. So yeah, that's pretty much it in a nutshell.
Drop the mic moment. Amazing. Round of applause. Yeah, truly
And
an
it
inspiration.
doesn't seem like much, and that's the thing. People might be thinking, oh, what are these cents? But in Australia, we all make around 11.3 card transactions a day. And if you just assume an average of it, 25 cents, it can be over like $800 million that you could raise for reputable organisations. Yeah, so there's definitely potential for people to understand that it's just those little things, that little moment, and positioning themselves to thinking, we're familiar with rounding up to save, we're familiar with rounding up to invest, but not to round up to give. And so I just wanted to be that person that was, aligning with a lot of people that want to do that. Yeah.
So Zara, just one request. Can you please drop a link to the app onto Slack? So for those who aren't members, we use Slack as a communication tool. Just put it onto Banter, and we share information and run our organisation basically seamlessly. We weren't impacted by COVID at the start of the year. Operations just kept on rolling. So Zara, if you could drop that on there, welcome everyone else. Give Zara a high five, unicorn, or leopard, whatever emoji you like. But share some love on Slack for that app. Amazing.
Thank you.
So we're going to keep moving, committed to making sure this is an hour. And I'm going to go back to Sean to help share what our forecast of events are, how you can help, and where you can get on board.
Okay, thanks, Nick. God, if you aren't inspired by that run of things, hearing from Crystal, hearing about the events we've achieved over the last 3 odd months, and then hearing Zara's story, then, wow, I'm just blown away by looking back at all that and hearing from such amazing people. If that didn't work, then we're going to blow your socks off with the upcoming run of events, and there's quite a few. So I've got a few to get through, and I'll read them so I don't miss out on any, because they're jam-packed, and we love overachieving at REC, as you can tell by the caliber of people like Zara in the group. So let's get cracking. Powerful quarter ahead. Let's inspire some generosity, and we'll talk you through the calendar for the next 3 months. A chance to get on board, get involved, lend a hand, a great opportunity for people that are prospective members thinking about joining Rotary or Rotary EQ, getting involved, to come along and just have an initial type of impact in the community as well. So make sure you jump on the event pages, register for events, because that'll make sure we accommodate for the right numbers, so that we use platforms like Eventbrite to make sure that we're registering people for contact tracing purposes, things like that. And also so that, well, you don't miss out, because some of these events are really limited capacity and they're really popular as well. So get in early, get tickets, make sure they're in calendars, and you won't miss out. So first on the forecast, here we go, thanks Nick. First on the forecast, we've got some social hangs coming up. So next Thursday, obviously Friday's announcements and any distancing requirements pending, we have a Thursday networking event. So this is a Thurs-Yay networking event. Next Thursday, HQ's rooftop bar, be able to meet existing members, come along, and also meet the leaders from AILA, which is an organisation assisting your life to achieve. It's a non-profit organisation dedicated to empowering people to overcome hardship. REC members, if you come along, first drinks on REC. So if you didn't need a reason, that's a big one. Great view. It's in front of our namesake as well. Come along. A couple of days after that, on the 13th of February, and just a reminder, 14th is Valentine's Day, in case anyone needs to pen that in as well. We've got an incredible Greenbatch volunteering opportunity coming up. So you saw some images and a reflection on Greenbatch that we did previously. Another awesome day to be able to come along, learn about Greenbatch. It'll freaking change your life. Like, I'm collecting so many milk bottles from work at the moment. From what I learned at Greenbatch, I think they're probably sick of my milk bottles. But anyway, they're WA's premier plastic recycling initiative, and you really will never look at recyclable things the same way again. After that, if you skip ahead to the 20th, so that's Saturday the 20th, you'll be able to join a team at the latest Vinnies clothes store. I think that's on the list there. Yeah, Vinnies clothes store, there we are. And if you're looking to roll up your sleeves, then it's a really great gig to kind of go along with quite a large group of people and get involved, meet new people, have some fun, and also really have an impact on a worthy organisation. And it really helps them out as well. So dive into that one. All right, next on the list, when we finish February, because, you know, the February Hyde Park Festival. So to end February, we've got the Hyde Park Festival. So where Rotary and our friends at Beaufort Rotary will be representing Rotary generally by engaging the public with some sideshow games, some activities to kind of spruik the good things like these projects, you know, so people kind of aware of what goes on with Rotary, how we get involved, how others can have an impact as well. So a great initiative. We do need more volunteers. So if anyone's keen to have a fun weekend, work with some great people, it's a great atmosphere out there. And if you haven't been to Hyde Park, get over there. It's amazing. You know, a great atmosphere to be able to make a contribution and share. Talk to Danny or Min if you're looking to join the crowd. So March has some big events in store. Because these weren't big enough, we thought, well, there's even bigger ones coming along. So the biggest one starts with 3 words, and it's the Joint District Conference. This is massive. REC is actually throwing or hosting somewhat of an opening night party of sorts on the 5th, the Friday. Then there's a Saturday and Sunday program, which includes a gala dinner. It's the Rotary event, basically the Rotary event, the capital THE, the event. So if you want to come along and get involved and learn about everything possible to do with Rotary and how we can give back, it's a big one to do it. We'd love every single member to be there, and so that we can, you know, sort of show the presence of our strong and growing and vibrant club. And we really want to stand out and, you know, demonstrate the heights of generosity that we're able to achieve. So come along, get your tickets. You know what's going to be absolutely sensational after the district conference? There's more events. And don't worry, I'm sure I'll find some steak knives to throw in at the end as well, but the Perth Rotaract Ball is on the 20th. It's a Brazilian themed night. So that's going to be full of fun and frivolity and raise money, much needed funds for Perth Homelessness Support Group. Dean and Melissa will be there lending the videography and photography skills. So reach out to Min if you'd like to be on the rec table. We've got a table. We're going to be getting team tickets together and all of that. So talk to Min. Then I guess the small team will be rolling up their sleeves to take part in what's a quarterly blood and noms activity. So it's a blood donation social event on Tuesday, the 23rd of March. There's 2 spots left. So there might only be 1 spot left. So go check, get involved. It's a great opportunity to give back, and blood donations right now are really important, given that obviously some of our lockdown challenges have really impacted supply. So blood and noms is a great opportunity there. 23rd of March, 2 spots left. Reach out to TK, Tristan, for the Twilight Vampire Experience. It's going to be fun. After that, we end March with another regional weekender, and a big one, this time to the sunny, sandy and pristine plains of Lancelin. So running from the 26th to the 28th, it'll be a weekend of kind of gardening, community work, and a bit of fun out and about in Lancelin as well. So that's going to be great. Make sure you register your interest in that early. Great chance for contribution and to be able to have some fun by the beach up there as well. After the regional weekend in early April, we see our next squad summit. So similar to tonight, the next squad will run theirs, and it'll be hosted by the City Keys. We're looking forward to what Min and the crew are going to conjure up, so keep an eye out for details on that. And then in April, our very own Melissa will be running Rotary EQ's Catwalk Opshop collection. This is on the 17th. That's right, vintage, pre-loved fashion, clothes, professional stylists, cocktails, and also this will be held on a DIY catwalk. Tickets for this are going to be extremely limited. There's capacity limit for us, 40 paying guests allowed, so scoop them up ASAP. It's going to be a really unique event, and it looks like it's going to be an absolutely fantastic night, so get onto that. Last but not least, I'll head back shortly. I've got to get through all these events because there's so much coming up I don't want you to miss out. We have the upcoming squad catch-ups. So here's a slide of the upcoming squad catch-ups. And going by Nick's face, there is no upcoming squad slide catch-up, but that's all right. I'll tell you about it anyway. There's lots of them coming. Squad catch-ups are different to the summits like these events. They're more social, intimate opportunities for squads and people to get together, understand what's going on a kind of local community, internal rec sense of things, and I guess build fellowships, do some small activities together, get to know each other inside Rec, because we've got a lot of members now, which is great. And the challenges of having a lot of members mean forming those social groups that come together and create opportunities themselves as well. So there's plenty more events brewing as well off the back of what we've kind of planted the seeds for in the recent Agile planning sprint that you heard about earlier. But that's really a wrap for the next 2 months. Remember to keep up with Slack on the Trello boards. Follow Service Above Self as the key Trello board. You'll find everything you need to know on there. Nick flashed it up on the screen before. And put your help up if you'd like to inspire some generosity, get involved. Thank you.
Thanks so much, Sean. Amazing emceeing. You're doing this job next time. Vishnu, great question. As Sean mentioned, we'll wait and see what the government restrictions are on Friday. Most of those events here will obviously be conforming to any restrictions that the government does apply, but we'll simply be pushing them out. They're all flexible venues, and we have some great relationships with those organisations. So book it in. And if we have to change it, we'll notify you in due course. Another amazing MC, none other than the Animal, will take us through a district update. You're on mute, my friend.
I also have a keyboard in the way, so please bear with me for a second. It lights up, it glows, pink and purple. Anyway, so by the powers invested in me by our District Governor John Bilson, I hereby deliver the district update. So firstly, we have the release of the District Code of Conduct. It's a brief document that lays out your rights and responsibilities as Rotarians, foremost of which is don't be dicks to each other. And if someone is being a dick, then how to escalate it, then who to escalate it to. So definitely take a read of that. Now let's keep going.
Next slide, Nick.
Next slide. Thank you. Oh, he's amazing. I love this boy. Now, some of y'all might be wondering what the hell district does, and so do I. But now we got a strategy, lovingly put together, that outlines our big priorities at district. Namely, supporting you guys, however you need supporting, making Rotary bigger, and translating between Rotary International and you. Because occasionally, RI spits out something weird that us folks might know what to do with, so we make it accessible. Whew. And in short, we want Rotary to be doing more. We want to be doing it with more people, and we want to be doing it with you, which sounds a little weird. Let's forget about that. Nick, next slide. Nick, don't dwell on that. Anywho, yeah, the Joint District Conference is just over a month away, ladies and gentlemen. And what is this thing? Well, it's a 3-day weekend at Optus Stadium, and Friday night, as you know, starts with a party planned by Nick Lim, which is probably going to be great. I just know it's caused fights at District, which of course means it has to be good. Then Saturday, we've got a day filled with amazing speakers, and then a really, really big and expensive party that I need to make money for. Anyway, and then you'll learn how to build a social enterprise, so it's a good day. And then Sunday, we're just low-key gonna try to end homelessness in WA, so it's gonna be cool. Now, we could still use some volunteers for the conference, so if you have any interest whatsoever in being part of the biggest Rotary-related thing that's probably ever gonna happen in person again, because of, the whole apocalypse thing, just flick me a message on Slack or just in the chat here, and we'll get to speaking. Now, all you newbies, so anybody that's joined Rotary since June, will be getting a little discount in your mailbox very, very soon. And speaking of which, Newbies Night. Yes, District held a Newbies Night last week, wherein the district leadership filled a pub in the city full of newly minted Rotarians to explain to them what the hell a Rotary is and what they do with it. Now, by all accounts, it was a fine night. I wasn't there. I was locked in quarantine. But there will be a repeat of this happening in March, and I do believe that the first beer is free. So yeah, I'm definitely going. You should also definitely go to that. I think free beer is a good way to end my section. Thank you, everybody.
Amazing, Dean. Amazing. You. seriously surprise me every single time. Sean, can you help us with some special recognition notices, please?
Definitely. Slide. This is slide change. Here we go. All right, we've got a bit of a hero alert on the cards here. Now, I'm unsure if they've been able to join us tonight, but our very own Boris and TK are out doing the absolute best with all the volunteer fireys in the emergency zone at the moment. So we just wanted to take a moment to really recognise and acknowledge what's really the ultimate contribution people can be making, putting their own lives on the line. So our hats got to go off to these gents, and they certainly have hero god status. And these are actually their bodies. So, you know, we'll get them up at a future event. Thanks, Nick. And some other happenings that have been going on. Vivian had a baby boy, Michael, recently, and we just wanted to say congratulations. So in the end of November, just last year, congratulations to Viv and the family. Have Alex, who proposed, and Jess said yes. It's some pretty exciting news inside Rec. Congratulations to both of you. We all wish you the best, and can't wait for the party to follow. And we've got one.
Thanks so much.
One more.
No, that's it.
Oh, there we go. Okay, Nick, here we go. Over to you.
Over to me. And just because of time, I think I might cut mine very, very short. But thank you so much for all of your support kicking off this year in such an incredible way. As you can see, we've got a huge lineup. And what we want to do is celebrate the true diversity, creativity, and innovation of you amazing people. There are so many ways to give back, so many ways to participate, and so many ways to make a difference. Undercutting all of these things is the fact that, as I mentioned at the start, you all have huge lives. You're all big people. You have families, you have jobs, you have relationships, you have children, some of you have making a difference, being a dentist, getting a law degree, traveling to Papua New Guinea, or getting a master's, potentially. And outside of all of those things, somehow, some way, you manage to fit in being part of our club. Now, what the board wants to reiterate is that we are so proud that you've chosen to be part of our community to make a difference, and we believe that our collective impact is made so much more special because you're a part of it. But it's important to know that there is no guilt or blame if you don't come to a meeting or go to participate on Slack or have other things that take your time up. What's most important is that when you give your word, you give your word. And so that might mean that you come along once every 6 months. If that's how you want to engage and liaise with Rec, then so be it. We know that you're up to big things as well. We, on the other hand, would love to see you every day of the week participating 100% on Slack, but we know that's not possible. So please participate when you can. Let us know early so we can plan and help us make the world a better place. So there's been a little bit of chat on Slack, and it's great to see. We really do encourage that. It gives us an indication of your interest and keenness to support on a whole myriad of events. We don't just chat away on there for, or maybe for shits and giggles. Thanks, Dean. There's lots of funny comments that go along in there, but your participation and contribution on Slack just gives us an indication of how much more we can plan. It makes it easy for us to engage with you and to know what more we could do, or maybe what less we could do. We want to plan according to the capacity of all of our members. And speaking of members, we have a few. We'll be formally inducting all of these new members and some returning members, whoop whoop, at our next networking event, Thurs-Yay networking next Thursday. Granted, we're allowed to be there. That McGowan doesn't put us in another week of lockdown, but if it does, it doesn't matter. We'll be back to formally induct and welcome Elizabeth, Marin, Josh, Francois, and Jackie into our ranks. Thank you so much for choosing to be a part of Rotary Elizabeth Quay. You helped to make us be an amazing club. And William, yes, bow ties potentially will be obligatory. Our next club summit is hosted by the City Keys. That is Min, who looks like he's come fresh out of North Korea. He's in no way by means a dictator, but he cuts a staunch photograph. Huggable, lovable Min with Kate, David, Nidra, Kuru, and Jackie. Min Jong-il, that's it. Thanks, Min. One more comment before we close, and I'm going to open up the Menti once again. We as a district have created a powerful way to give back. Now, there's a fire relief fund going right now, and we could all say, hey guys, who wants to put $5 into the pot? And we could raise maybe $150. But that's not what we're about at REC. We're about making a big difference, and we're about being creative in doing so. So many of you saw the impact of the fires on the East Coast and the very creative ways that people raised millions of dollars. Now, I'm not saying that we put our bodies on the line and sell ourselves. What's that app called again, Melissa? You know it. OnlyFans. I'm not suggesting we go on OnlyFans, although Sean might be able to sell a couple of mil. But there are always creative ways to raise money, especially from lockdown, and the East Coast showed us. So, Rec, I bring it to you. How can we fundraise virally? How can we make a viral fundraiser from our lockdown homes to raise some money for the fire relief? 71 homes have been burnt down, one of which we know is a fellow Rotarian. Many more will continue to burn down. Let's support our fellow Perthians. Let's support Boris. Let's support stock images. Nice. Let's support TK in finding ways to really blow the lid off and raise some funds. Now, I'll leave that up. And as a closing note, I'm going to introduce our last segment, which is a closing joke from our very own David Trumbull. This is the Trumbull Rumble section. And I was asked to vet these jokes, but look, I may have run out of time. David Trumbull, over to you. David Trumbull, are you on the line? Oh dear, he's going to leave me hanging. Maybe it's a sign. I don't know. Look, he's a very important person. He has got to he's got to take care of other things. Yeah, it looks like maybe that's his last joke, you know. James.
Okay.
Give us the joke.
Let me think of it. Forgotten my joke. No, that's not a joke. Hold on, let me think.
That's all right.
No, I've forgotten it.
No, you're not forgotten it. It's gonna come back to you.
I am the joke. No, I'm kidding. No, I've forgotten it. It's gone. I'm under pressure.
That's all good, mate. We love you.
Hold on.
You're amazing.
I'm gonna move my face.
Put
Maybe
your thinking
that'll help.
cap.
Okay.
Yeah.
Look, I'll put it on the chat. I'll put it on the chat.
Okay. Well, if anyone wants to offer a joke to James, please feel free to do so. It's 6:30. Zara, can you please? I think you've dropped the app onto Slack. Everyone else, please share some love on there. And if you got a Trumbull in the jungle joke, please feel free to share that as well. We love you.
The joke.
Okay, thank you. Go for it,
Okay.
James.
Okay. Most of you have probably already heard this, but how do you think the unthinkable? Did you hear that? Any takers? No. How do you think the unthinkable? No? With an iceberg. And I'm out.
Okay, on that note, the Trumbull Rumble is accessible for next time. If you want to take part in the Trumbull Rumble, you're more than welcome to. Thank you so much. That's actually great, Jiv says. Thank you so much, Crystal, for joining us and sharing your amazing story. Thank you so much, William, for joining us from the UK. Ellen is still trying to get it. Ingrid, love your work. Sean, you're an amazing man, and maybe OnlyFans could be your next job. Dean, fantastic as always. Johnny Cash, eat your heart out. Melissa, we love you. You have an amazing squad. Thank you for the impact you make in the community. And for everyone else, have a great evening. And I'll just hang out here in case anyone wants to hang out and chat for a while.
Bye, off our squad summit.
Yeah.
I've got a quick question. Oh, I was going to have a quick question for Crystal, but she just ducked off. I just missed her. That's okay.
Who's got a question?
It wasn't a question, but if you do have an online fundraiser, if you can make it global now.
Can you help us make it global, William?
I can try. I can do. I can certainly, obviously, mention it around Rotary in Britain.
All right. This is the start of it, guys. This is the start of it.
If we did a virtual quiz, night, we could have a lot of the questions about Australia because the British would love that. We could ask about Australian animals and Australian sports stars and
as long as they're willing to dial in from 9:30 a.m.
My mother's from Brisbane, so I grew up with Australian culture.
Well, we could get up at 6 a.m, Nick.
Jules,
5 a.m.
I'm with you. I'm with you. Any other suggestions? We will share with you the link after this meeting.
Anyway, have a good few weeks. Don't enjoy, well, try to enjoy lockdown. Hope it isn't as long as ours. Maybe see you sometime in the future.
Yeah. Well, help spread the word, mate. We'd love to see more on our calls.
Recommend.
Yeah.
Vishnu.
Hi guys. Thanks for the meeting invitation. Thank you to Mr. James. How are you all?
We'll pass.
How's the situation at your place now?
Who's the question to, Vishnu? Melissa or James?
For everyone.
Oh. And what was the question?
How was the situation at your place now?
The situation, we're on day 3 of lockdown, and we have a pretty a catastrophic fire in the hills. So we're all watching that. And Boris, maybe you can tell us a little bit more about that.
Yeah, okay. No dramas. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Yep.
All right, well, as of the last couple of hours, it's gotten a little bit worse. So it's the wind change is now making it go from one way, now the other. So what happens is now we're seeing homes that were otherwise to be cautious now being told to evacuate, as well as predicting more land, particularly to go north. So that's never a good thing. We prefer this sort of stuff to go inland rather than towards the coast where society lives. So what I've done for a couple of friends of mine is I've told them how they can take action to give them a sense of control over the situation. Because one of the things that happens is people tend to panic. They tend to think, oh, what do I do? And then they end up just freezing in place until they're forced to do something. So here's something that I've been telling people who've been asking me over the last couple of days, and as well I've been telling them to spread this information. So number 1, have a bag packed with at least 3 days worth of clothes and include snacks if any possible. You'd be surprised at just how effective comfort food is to provide a sense of normality and comfort. Number 2, have a place to stay organized in case there is an emergency. Friends, families, even like poisonous reptile enclosures are all great sources. Anything you can find that's away from the red zone is ideal, and ideally yet away from the yellow zone. Number 3, and this is one thing that people tend to forget, is prepare any important documents or cherished memories that will either never be recovered again, lost forever, or will take a real hassle to try and pull up. This includes things such as house plans, includes things such as family photo albums. We generally don't think about that sort of stuff, but holding on to those things can give you a sense of hope, and it can give you a sense of like, we still have these memories despite what's happened. And the last but not least, if you or anyone else still is uncertain, tell them if they want absolute security, given how close the fire is to wherever they're living, tell them to start acting on this plan and leave the home before midnight. What happens at midnight is that we often see a wind change, and this exacerbates the problem. So during the day, it's hot and it's dry, so spot fires tend to carry up. But during the wind change at midnight, what we end up seeing is the fire starts to move more rapidly. So it's one of these things where we tell people to be prepared, and then at nighttime when they're asleep, that's when the fire really comes to get them. But yeah, it's been pretty surreal. Imagine just walking down your street and 1 in 4 homes is completely melted into itself, burnt down to the ground. There's nothing left. And there's as sad as it is to say, there was one really funny incident where I was investigating this one burnt down property because we were suspecting that a fire was going to erupt and it was going to affect one house that was still standing, and there was an occupant in there, an older gent, probably back in his 70s, 80s, too old to evacuate. But as we got there, one of my friends, or the person I was with, my offsider, he walked around the building and I lost him. And I was calling out his name, but what he was experiencing was he was like just taking all of this in, all the carnage, all the damage, and it was starting to get to him. And he saw this welcome sign that was intact, but then the rest of the house was completely melted. And then he just hears this name, Wrath, like come out over the wind. And so he's not thinking that it's me. He's thinking it's ghosts. And so, of course, he responds with a sheepish, yeah? Oh, it was brilliant. You had to be there. You had to be there just to see him go, dude, was that you that yelled at me? I was like, yeah, who else would it be?
Well, I'm glad you can discover the humanity and the light in such a dark circumstance. I've been involved in a bushfire myself. Long story. Accidentally caused it, or a group of mine did, and yeah, we had to go back. We went back and helped to mop up and keep it, and to manage the fire, which continued to burn for a week or 2 later. So serious things. Anyway, unless there's any other comments, I might formally close the meeting. Well, I might casually close the meeting. The formal end was about 10 minutes ago. Any other questions, comments, shout outs?
I've just got a question for Boris, and I don't know whether he can sort of provide some answers around it, but I've had a couple of friends directly affected by the fire. And what is the best thing to do? I mean, obviously right now we're just giving them time and space, but there's so much confusion around what to do, and obviously there's fundraising which will help. And, you know, some people have suggested they don't want secondhand like linen and, you know, things like that, or, you know, gift vouchers or GoFundMe pages can impact their insurance, so don't do that. Like, what is, apart from support them, you know, once they get to clean up stage and, you know, asking them what they want, but what generally are the things that are valuable to them in this position that we can do to help?
That's a really good thing. And one of the things that I can say for that is don't ask how to help them, just help them. People get really finicky about asking for help, even if they've lost their homes, they've lost their cars. You know, I've seen somebody whose whole herd of goats was dead, all of it, their whole livelihood gone. You know, a burnt chicken is literally a chicken with its feathers burnt was the only thing left of that property. And that was the only thing alive. Everything else is gone. If that person, you know, you're thinking like, oh, they don't want secondhand linen, they don't want this, they don't want that, just get it for them anyway, because they'll be thankful when they need it, not necessarily in the moment, because right now they're in survival mode. Like, this has just happened. I need to get out of here. What's the worst case scenario? I need to call the banks. No, of course I don't want whatever you're trying to pitch to me. Just give it to them. I've already started preparing a little hamper pack for one of my friends who's had to be evacuated. And in there, I've just got some tinned food, everything from baked beans to chicken soup. I've got a pillow that I've bought, and a $6 item from Target. What else is in there? I think like a $5, no, not a $5, that's too cheap. But something like a $15 blankie, just something comforting. And that's literally it. Tinned food, a pillow, and a blanket, and just that. We'll just do them. Because there's nothing I can physically do for them unless it's calling up the insurance company. And I can't do that because that's fraud.
Thanks for that, Boris. That's great. Thank you.
There's a Facebook group as well where businesses and all sorts of people are putting up tangible items, even accommodation, emergency accommodation for people affected by the bushfire. So I've just sent you the link, Julie. You can send that to your friends as well.
Awesome. Thanks.
Okay. Well, Vishnu, once again, thank you for joining us. William, that was really lovely. Both to have two international guests surprise us. We hope to see you again, and maybe we could look at other partnerships of how to raise funds, perhaps, or some other creative things to bridge the gap.
Thank you.
See you, everyone. Bye.
Okay, bye guys. See you. Bye.
Take care.
Thanks.